Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. My name is Nick.
I'm Ian.
And this week we're going to talk about, a topic that I kind of touched on a couple of weeks back when I was talking about record services, like monthly record services. So today we're going to talk about Columbia House. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click on the link down below and go check out the Vinyl Den Facebook group. It's a kind of a growing community. We have just to kind of talk about music. I want to say there's like 500, a little over 500 people in there right now. So it's not a huge community, but it's definitely growing. Also, make sure you click on the subscribe button down below. What else are you supposed to hit, Ian?
The notification bell, ding ding.
That way they're notified every time we release new episodes, which is
3 times a week.
3 times. What days are they, Ian?
Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Yep. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then Sundays at noon. Also, we have a new Patreon account. There's a link down below if you want to go check that out to support the Vinyl Den. So there's 2 big music services, at least from the time I kind of grew up. The big one was Columbia House. I was also a member of BMG.
Right.
I think I kind of went back and forth. I probably owe both of them money still, but
I don't know if about Columbia. It's only BMG exists
I would
anymore.
move back and forth between Columbia House and BMG. Like I would complete one and then I'd go to another one, and I don't really know if I would complete the whole subscription and pay everything I'm supposed to.
All I know is the ads were always in the TV guide, and they'd have a list of CDs that were free for 1 penny if you signed up for the service. And every time there was one in there, I'd be like, and then eventually I finally did it.
I think Columbia House is the oldest one. Columbia House has been around since 1955. And they started out, originally, they were kind of a threat to the brick and mortar stores.
Because they were what the internet is now.
Yeah, kind of. But what Columbia House ended up doing was striking a deal with brick and mortar stores that they would offer a 20% commission if those stores would help sign up new customers. And over the first year, I want to say they hired you. They had like over 170,000 members that first year, and by like the second year, they had like 700,000 people enrolled in the Columbia House service. And another deal that they made with brick and mortar stores to kind of alleviate issues was originally it was 6 months. Columbia House wouldn't sell an album until it had been in the record stores for 6 months.
Right.
And then I think later it was cut down to 3 months. But that was kind of a way to at least give consumers a chance to buy it at the brick and mortar stores before Columbia House started like giving them free records, basically.
Well, they must have still been something like that, because I know granted it was probably just because it was an advertised thing, but a lot of times those Columbia House advertisements in the TV guide, it was never anything brand new. It was always stuff that had been out for a few years, or best ofs, greatest hits kind of things.
Yeah. So actually, I have some of the numbers written down. By the end of the first year, Columbia House had a little over 125,000 members that purchased 700,000 records.
Wow.
A year later, they had almost 700,000 members and sold 7 million records. And by 1963, Columbia House owned 10% of the entire recorded music retail market. So that's a huge growth in, 8 years?
Yeah.
So, and it continued, because I think I started getting into, it was probably the late 80s. I think the first time I got into Columbia House, so I was
That was probably early 90s for
I
me,
think legally you're not even supposed to be in it until you're 16 or 18. So I was probably 10 years old.
Right.
10 or 11 the first time I signed on with Columbia House. And by that time, they were everywhere. You open up any kind of magazine, whether it was Rolling Stone, TV Guide, all of them had ads in there for either Columbia House or BMG. Right. And I think more so because at that time I was still big into cassettes. I wasn't doing records from them, but even into, I think it was finally in the mid 90s is when I got into the CD service through BMG was kind of the big one.
My first experience with Columbia House was in the 80s. I didn't sign up, but my grandmother had. She was getting movies, VHS movies. Yeah. Because back then VHS wasn't sold in stores.
And if they were $80 a piece.
Well, they were $80 from Columbia House too, but that was basically mail order VHS. yeah, you couldn't really go to a store and just buy a
No,
VHS.
no.
So you can rent them or buy them from Columbia House.
Yeah. So I know the big sales pitch with those not streaming services, those music services was they would send you like, what was it, 10
Usually 10
CDs or 10 cassettes for
a penny.
For a penny or $1 or whatever it was.
You just had to buy 10 more at regular price.
Was it? I think with BMG, I think it was like 3 or 5 you had to buy over the next like 12 or 18 months. But the thing was, like the ones at regular price were like $18 or $19 or something like that.
And this was like you said, in the 90s, Best Buy was really killing it with the CD market. They were selling CDs for $10.
Yeah, yeah. Target and Best Buy, and in our area, Meyer even got into it a little bit. There was the CD price wars where they were all trying to outdo each other on who could sell CDs for the cheapest
and have a nice selection. I mean, they always had all of those had selections for the first while, for a little while. After that, then it started to dwindle.
But I think that was kind of the thing that people kind of once that price war started, I think it was really kind of spelling the end for these services, because even if you are going to get a great deal on those, first 10 CDs, cassettes, whatever, it was the stuff you had to buy on the back end. And I think that's where a lot of people started scamming these services, because what a lot of people were doing were signing up under false names, and then they really couldn't collect anything. They couldn't send a fake person to collections.
Well, I think there was a difficulty with collecting on it anyway, because it was just a promise to purchase. It wasn't a set dollar value.
Yeah.
Well,
there was, because let's say they started at $17.95,
right?
And you had to buy 3 of them over 18 months. Well, they know at the end of that 18 months you were supposed to buy, $60 basically worth of CDs or whatever. Yeah. So there wasn't a dollar value there, but they really couldn't go ahead and put a 14-year-old into collections over a debt, because it just is not legally binding.
Right.
So I think there was that issue, plus the $4.99 CDs at Best Buy. I think really, if you really kind of break it down, you're spending more through a service like Columbia House than buying those discounted CDs.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah.
But I know with Columbia House, there was a data breach in the early 2000s, and obviously streaming and I guess before streaming, digital music, Napster, things like that.
Pirating, really, because pirating is what started the streaming services in the first place.
Yeah, really kind of put a nail in the coffin, really, of those services.
Well, and I mean, just physical media in general was already starting. It was in early stages. It's still alive, but it was in the early stages of fading away.
Yeah. And then I know in 2005, BMG actually bought Columbia House. And that kind of ended Columbia House's, 60-year reign.
Yeah.
And then back in, I think it was 2000, within the last couple of years, I want to say 2017, 2018, Columbia House kind of popped up in the news again when whoever the owner is of Columbia House stated that they wanted to do a record music service through the mail. But as of 2021, that still hasn't kind of come to life.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe COVID had something to do with that.
Well, I don't know. I think they probably saw the money that could be made in records, but I don't know if because the big thing with these Columbia House and BMG services, back when they were in their heyday, they were basically ripping off artists and labels and not paying royalties. But since the lawsuits and everything that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, they're really not able to do that. So it's not as easy to make money off them now.
Maybe not.
So I wonder if some of those royalty services or agreements that they'd have to get into just financially just didn't make sense in the long run for Columbia House.
Seems to me like now is the perfect time to do something like that if they can do it legally.
Yeah, because and like I talked in my video, a couple of weeks back, there's a bunch of these record services available. I've done Bandbox the last couple of months, which I think is a pretty good service, but there's a ton of them out there.
Maybe that's why they're not. Maybe the market's kind of all getting to a point of saturation.
Yeah, but if you look at a lot of those record mail services, a lot of them are actually pretty pricey, and it's probably along the lines of, because they've got to pay for those royalties, something that Columbia House and BMG just didn't do for 60 years. Well, that's all we got for you today, guys. Thanks for watching the show. Drop us a comment down below and let us know what you guys think of these services. Have you ever used Columbia House or BMG and what you think of them? And if you think that there is a spot in the marketplace for those services to come back. But make sure you hit the subscribe button down below.
Like button.
Give us a little thumbs up.
Ding ding.
Hit the notification bell. Check out the Vinyl Den Facebook group, and also check out the Patreon page, right?
Yeah. Why not?
Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Keep on spinning. Peace.